Well, here's my story, guys. How I contracted HIV at age 13. Oh boy. Um, I grew up with my mom and dad. They was on crack cocaine and back in the 80s, and back then crack was a issue, a real issue. So we lived at that 285 Troop Street in Rochester, New York. Me and my three sisters, Tammy, Toya, and Brittany. Tammy, who just passed away 3 years ago from cancer of the cervix, and I took care of her and stuff like that. So that's my favorite, of course. We're a year apart. My other two sisters, I don't really care for that much, but I tolerate them. Only time they want to deal with me is when they want something. So I don't deal with them type of people. Um, I remember growing up and my mom and dad was in a room doing drugs all the time with a whole bunch of people, or even some family members like my aunts who was on drugs as well. And I was in the next room with my cousin Terrell, and he was molesting me all the time. Like he always was touching on me or trying to push his dick inside of me or making me give him head or just, I felt weird. I didn't know how to feel because I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I told my mother and father, and nothing happened. They told me I'm just imagining stuff. They don't believe that happened to me or whatever. So I left it there. You know what I'm saying? So one particular day I was walking through the yard and I met this man, and I used to be very feminine when I was growing up. I was girly. I had nothing but sisters, so my dad didn't do no with me. So I was a little feminine, you know what I'm saying? I had a nice little ass and I looked good. I didn't have no hair on my face. I had a high pitched voice. You know what I'm saying? I was going through puberty. And I met this man who started giving me money, giving me bottles, and giving me money to get penny candies at the time, because back then you could get penny candies for a penny. So I used to get penny candies for me and my sisters, and my mother and father had caught note to me always having stuff and having extra money. So they asked me where I get it from. So I told them that I met this man through the backyard. He lived in the house back there, and every time he see me, he give me money. So that was the way for them to get their drugs. You know what I'm saying? And this is where it all started. They allowed him to become my godfather. I started staying out of his house, and one thing led to another. He got me drunk, and he raped me, and I was bleeding in my underwear, and just horrible, just thinking about it, just thinking about the fact that nothing was never done about it, nothing was never brought up to make me feel better. I just felt like it was my fault. When I did approach the situation with my mom and dad, it was just like brushed under the rug, and they just was like, "You'll get over it. We'll work through it." That's how black families are. They try to brush stuff under the rug and just leave it there. So I had went home one day, and my sister saw me like making noises and grunting and stuff and holding my stomach, and she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "My stomach hurt." And she was like, "Come here." So we went in the bathroom, and I pulled my pants down for her, and it was blood. My drawers was bloody, and my sister lost it. You know what I'm saying? So that was the start of a transition for me. My mother and father didn't take me to the doctor. They didn't get me tested. They didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Drugs is a horrible thing. You know what I'm saying? When people are on drugs, they don't really have the mind to think about nothing but getting high. So they didn't really take care of us. So I became the bigger person in my sisters' them lives. You know what I'm saying? I was doing everything, making sure it was good, and stealing, and always stealing out the store, stealing food, because my mother and father sold everything. We get food, they sell everything. We ain't got nothing, not even noodles and bread in the refrigerator. They sell everything. So we had to struggle. You know what I'm saying? And I used to always get in trouble, stealing cars, and I just had a very dysfunctional life. You know what I'm saying? And I was locked up one day. I'll never forget. I was in DFY, Division for Youth, because I kept getting in trouble, stealing cars, stealing, always getting in trouble. I was a very angry kid, because of things that was happening to me. They said that I was emotionally disturbed in school, so they put me in special ed, but that wasn't the problem. The problem was none of the issues was dealt with that I was going through. So anyways, I was going from group homes, DFY, to jail, to foster care. We all got taken away, to the system, and I was getting molested in foster care, my sisters as well. So it was just horrible. Like, it was just like, who can you run to? Who can you call on? Who can you depend on? Like, these are adults, and doing nothing but taking advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? So I just always felt neglected. I always felt like alone, like I do now. Like I don't really mess with people. I'm like to myself. I'm very closed in. I'm very sheltered. I'm very nonchalant. I don't like to be bothered with people because I don't trust people. You know what I'm saying? Even with my traumas and different things that I go through and I'm still continually dealing with, even at almost 48, it's just horrible, man. It's just horrible. So I ended up going to prison for 7 years. Um, while in prison, I used to be in the line to get my medication at the infirmary, because if you had HIV, they call it the monster, they call it all types of stuff. They was like, the people that go to the infirmary down there, they die and they got to stand in line and take their pills. So I was never wanting to go. I didn't go. And I ended up getting really sick one day and falling out and my lungs had collapsed. And the nurse in there told me, she said, Terrell, do you want to live? Like, you ain't here living for these people. Like, most of these people here got some situation going on too. She said, you ain't going to even see these people when you leave. And she was right. It's been 16 years. I ain't seen them people, heard from them people. And I'm just determined to keep going. I really been fighting this fight with HIV for decades alone. I died 3 times, even died in front of my family. I got the scars right here to prove where they had to cut me open and put tubes in me for me to breathe because my lungs stopped because they gave me this pill called Bactrim. And Bactrim, it stops you from catching opportunistic infections like PCP, pneumonia, and different things like that could take you out of here. And come to find out, I was allergic to it. And I ended up taking the pill, and my tongue was big as my face, and my heart was beating so fast and stuff like that. Like I didn't have no oxygen. They had to cut me open. Like it was just an experience that I will never forget. And that allowed me to know that God was really there for me. That allowed me to know that I'm here for a reason, and definitely not a season, and I didn't mind sharing my story. I just don't like putting everybody in my business, and like being on TikTok like I'm crying out for help or I want people to pity me because I don't, because I'm amazing. You know what I'm saying? I never had nobody turn me down. I've always been honest about my status. I've dated women, dated men. I've never been turned away. I'm undetectable. I take care of myself. My health comes first, and honesty comes first. And you just can't find that in the world today. You can't find it. That's why I just stay to myself and basically do what I have to do. I think that I can educate a lot of people, on epidemiology and blood and how you contract the virus and stuff like that because I used to be a peer educator here in New York City working for Boom Health, but I just sometimes I don't like talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I try to get around it, but I have to realize that it's nothing I can get around. It's a part of me. So I'm grateful today to be alive. I'm grateful today for realizing that HIV is not a death sentence. You know what I'm saying? It's never have been. You know what I'm saying? The only time that I felt that way is when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize what was going on with me. You know what I'm saying? And I used to get really sick and sweat a lot and Lord, getting emotional. Hold on. I hold a lot of resentment still. My mom and dad, I love them because they're my parents, and the Bible say obey your parents, and I do, but I just don't deal with them. You know what I'm saying? I choose not to. Too much trauma, and they're almost 70 years old soon, still smoking crack. So I just don't want to. What I want to do, keep dealing with people that's doing the same shit for, and could never apologize to me, never sit me down and talk to me about how I'm feeling or what's going on with me, or apologize for things that I've been through when I was younger. Like I don't fuck with my family. Period. I just don't. They don't reach out to me. I don't reach out to them. I used to always be the one reaching out to everybody, checking on everybody, making sure everybody good, traveling back and forth to Rochester, making sure everybody good. I just don't do that shit no more. For what? For what? They don't do that shit for me, so fuck them, period. Family, friends, whoever. You treat me how you want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? If you don't treat me fair, then, oh well, I'm going to treat you the same way. I'll just cut you off and act like I never knew you. I'm a real Libra bitch. I'll walk past you. You could be my family, and I'll walk past you and look at you and cross the street. Because it works better like that for me. I'm not a phony person. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time for phony shit either. So it is what it is. This is part 1 of my story. I hope you enjoyed it, all right?